O dear listener, gather round as I unfurl the tale of my sojourn at the Nazarene Theological College, Manchester, a place where the ivory towers crumbled into the dust of archaic ideals and unfulfilled promises. Imagine, if you will, a young maiden, bright-eyed and thirsting for knowledge, stepping through the hallowed halls of learning, only to find herself transported, not to a beacon of enlightenment, but to a time capsule of educational despair. The lecture halls, oh, the lecture halls. They were the epitome of claustrophobic relics, squeezed together as if in a perpetual embrace of inconvenience. The air was thick with the scent of forgotten years, and the chairs, they creaked and groaned under the weight of students' dreams that were slowly being suffocated by the dry, brittle pages of outdated tomes. The course content, my dear friends, was a parchment of ancient scribbles, so detached from the pulse of the living world that one could scarcely breathe life into its parched veins. It was a history lesson, not the practical elixir of theological training that I, in my naivety, had sought. The staff, those gatekeepers of knowledge, were but shadows behind their desks, their eyes shrouded in the mist of disinterest. To engage them was akin to coaxing a stone to dance, and woe betide the soul who sought their guidance, for they were as elusive as the echo of one's own whisper in the void of an empty chapel. Communication was a labyrinth of silence, and help was a treasure so rare that even the most valiant knights of inquiry would falter in their quest. Accommodation, that supposed sanctuary of rest and reflection, was a cruel jest. The rooms were sterile caves, their walls echoing the chimes of overpriced solitude. The location, my friends, was a self-imposed exile from the vibrant heart of Manchester, leaving one marooned on an island of isolation, where the only bridge to camaraderie was the fragile hope of finding kinship amongst the cliques that held the true power within these walls. Ah, but the environment, it was a tapestry woven with the threads of conservatism so tightly knit that the fabric smothered the faintest whisper of dissent. To hold a viewpoint contrary to the orthodox was to be an outsider, a heretic in the court of scholarly conformity. The air was thick with judgment, and the weight of expectation to bend one's mind to the accepted mold was a chain around the neck of intellectual freedom. The library, that supposed wellspring of wisdom, was but a mirage in the desert of academic resources. Its shelves, once promising the fruits of knowledge, offered only the shriveled remnants of a bygone era's thoughts. The tuition fees, a veritable king's ransom, were a cruel irony, for the quality of teaching and resources was a hollow chest, promising treasure but yielding naught but empty air. Admin, the dark sorcerer of this tale, wove spells of confusion and error, entangling the simplest of tasks in the tendrils of inefficiency. The processes were a maze with no exit, a Sisyphean ordeal that left one weary and bereft of hope. Online learning resources, those digital beacons of knowledge, were practically a myth, leaving the diligent student to grope in the darkness of independent study. And so, dear listener, here I stand, a soul scarred by the weight of unmet expectations and the bitter taste of tuition wasted on a facade of learning. The Nazarene Theological College, Manchester, was to be my crucible of growth, but instead, it became my crucible of disillusionment. I came seeking enlightenment and found myself in the throes of a chronic melancholia, a profound sadness that lingers like the last note of a requiem mass for a dream that died before it could ever truly live. But let us not part in sorrow alone. Let us instead find solace in the shared warmth of empathy.
You know, it's really disheartening to think about the kinds of things that can happen near a place like Nazarene Theological College, Manchester. I mean, you do expect an area around such a prestigious institution to be safe, right? But the truth is, even here, scams and fraud can pop up, like nasty surprises you don't want on your vacation. Take, for example, the jewelry store heist that went down at the Buckland Hill Mall. It's not far from the college, you know. These thieves, they probably cased the place for days, waiting, and then bam, they smash the cases, grab the goods and vanish before anyone can blink. It's like a movie scene, but for the victims, it's a nightmare that probably left them shaken, looking over their shoulders for days, reporting card frauds and dealing with insurance. The thieves, they probably long gone, celebrating with a champagne they didn't pay for, but I bet they'll slip up someday. Karma is like that, you know. And it's not just the big crimes that hurt. Little scams can leave a mark too. Like those shops that seem charming but inflate their prices for tourists. You walk in, enchanted by the display, and next thing you know, you're paying double for a trinket you could be found elsewhere for less. It's a sour end to what you thought was a good deal. The shop owners, they likely justify it, saying it's just business, but deep down they must know it's wrong. They stealing trust, and that is something that can be replaced as easily as money. Then there are the fake goods, You might come across a deal that seems too good to be true, like a designer bag for a fraction of the price. But it's a trap. It's not genuine, and once you ray home, that bag will fall apart, or you'll realize it's just a cheap imitation. The sellers, they know what they ray doing. They ray experts at making you feel like you've stumbled upon a secret treasure. But it's all smoke and mirrors, and when the illusion fades, you ray left feeling foolish. It's a sad world, where even a place of learning and faith like Nazarene Theological College, Manchester, can shield the surrounding area from deceit. But remember, not everyone is out to get you. There are still good people out there, ones who genuinely want to help and make your stay memorable for the right reasons. So keep your wits about you, enjoy the beauty of Manchester, and don't let the few bad apples spoil the bunch. It's really disheartening, isn't it? How some people can take advantage of others' trust and joy. But we have to keep hoping, keep looking for the good, and keep being careful. That's all we can do, right? Keep our hearts open, but our eyes wide open too.
Opening with a soft, introspective tone in the shadow of the venerable Nazarene Theological College in Manchester, a tapestry of businesses weaves a complex narrative. As we tiptoe through the reviews, a pattern emerges, one that speaks of expectations unmet and promises left hanging in the air like the winter mist over the college spires. Let's begin with My Nawab, a culinary establishment that, regrettably, seems to specialize in disappointment as much as it does in Indian cuisine. Picture this: a Ramadan home delivery that arrives with the punctuality of a royal guardsman, but disappoints like a soggy firework. Stale pakoras and questionable biryani have left a trail of disenchantment, with silent servers and unanswered complaints adding to the culinary calamity. It's a place where even gold rings take a walk down the lost and found lane, never to be seen again. Across the way, Fig Sparrow perches on the avenue of aspirations, but alas, the matcha here is as lackluster as an unbuttered slice of toast. The avocado may be trendy, but it seems to disappear into the ether, leaving behind only the echo of its former self. The staff, more concerned with the status of their hair than the hunger of their patrons, leave guests feeling like unwelcome wallflowers in a cramped dance of discontent. Now, let us wander into the industrial embrace of Hidden at Downtex Mill, where the beat drops but so does the spirit. Here the bouncers play a game of entry roulette, and sometimes the house wins at the expense of your evening plans. It's a place where the toilet's close before the party's over, and diversity appears to be as elusive as a free spot on the dance floor. The promise of a unisex queue turns into a one-sided shove, leaving patrons feeling more hidden than the venue itself. What binds these establishments together in a melancholic melody is not just the litany of complaints, but the undercurrent of unfulfilled potential. Each business near the Nazarene Theological College in Manchester seems to be a riddle wrapped in a mystery, inside an enigma of poor service and unmet expectations. As a travel analyst with an idealistic heart and a stomach that turns at the thought of injustice, I must caution the weary traveler. Expectations are the precious cargo you carry when you step into these businesses. Guard them well, for the journey may lead to a banquet of disappointment, seasoned with a pinch of neglect and a dash of disdain. Yet amidst the tales of woe, there is a silver lining, a glimmer of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, these businesses might one day rise from the ashes of their reviews like a phoenix, flavored with the spices of redemption and the herbs of humility. Until that day comes, let this serve as a beacon, guiding you through the fog of uncertainty. Remember, in the land